So yeah, talking about me, my name is Abhishek. I'm current student of JBIMS Mumbai, batch of 2025. So I have done my bachelor's in the field of mechanical engineering, and post that I have a work experience of around 2.5 years in different industries, starting from manufacturing to automobile to learning. I mean, the education sector as well. And post that, during JBIMS, I was fortunate enough to be a part of Colgate Palmolive India, where I've done my summer internship. And yeah, now it's my last mile in JBIMS in the month, I would say. Yeah, in the month, I would be passing out of JB. So yeah, I would like to answer a few of the questions if they have any. Otherwise, do you want me to cover something specifically?
So
Let me know.
let's look at Abhishek. For example, like you, what was your strategy last 15
Sure.
days before the exam? What are like the do's and don'ts that you suggest the students should keep in mind?
Sure. So before that, would like to know a little bit about my journey in this CET, whole CET, or maybe MBA entrance exam circle. So I have started preparing for the MBA entrance exams from the year 2021 to be precise. That was the time when I attempted the first entrance exam, which was CET. Before that, I have attempted CAT as well in 2020, but that was without preparation. I just attempted it uh, in peer pressure. My friends were also attempting it, and that's why I also attempted. Score somewhere around 90-91 percentile, if I'm not wrong. And CT 2021 was my first genuine. I mean, with all the preparation and that one attempt. That was CT 2021. There I scored 99.72 percentile to be very specific. And CET 2020, then the 3 consecutive years I applied for CET. CET 2023 is where CET 2022 is where some tragedy happened. There I scored 99.84. I was ranked 109 to be very precise, and the last person to get into JB was 108 rank. So I was 109th, and that time I missed JB by a single rank.
Wow.
So there I got to know the importance of that 10 seconds, or that last 1 minute in exam. Had I solved one more extra question, I would have gotten into JB last year itself. So yeah, but the thing is, if it is there in your if you have that fate, it is basically going to happen with you for sure. So if stars align, definitely that is going to be there in your fate. So yeah, next year I got 99.78 percentile, and again, I mean, I got into GB this year. Talking about the last few 15 days preparation strategy, I would suggest now is the time to actually stop studying, and focusing more on your mocks, and the strategy about your mocks. You should sort of filter and sort of strategize some sections, and accordingly you have to be prepared. Last time CET, as far as I know, last time I didn't appear for CET, although I wanted to, but I didn't. Last time I think it was sectional pattern, if I'm not wrong. But before that, the last 3 years, CET 21, 22, 23 was totally jumbled pattern. So you will have to be very much prepared according to both the patterns. I would suggest you have this last 15 days. So maximum number of mocks, as many number of mocks as you can, you should attempt. Ideal number should be somewhere in between, I would say minimum 7 and maximum 10, not more than that. Giving mock is one thing, but analyzing it properly is another thing. So if at all you are sort of giving 2.5 hours for mocks, I would suggest you to give around again similar amount of time, that is 2.5 hours for analysis as well. There you'll have to analyze your weak topics, strong topics, and the time, specifically the time that you have given to a particular question. So there is a different method that I use, that if a topic is known and still I have given it like more than a minute, so that was basically not expected from me. I should have given more, less than 1 minute for every question, because at the end 1 minute per 1 marks per minute is the target that I've set. Accordingly, if I could score 150 marks in 150 minutes, I will be able to get into the GB. That was my that was my strategy, so that I followed. Talking about the question selection, it's always important. I mean, it's very important rather to select a right question, and to basically avoid the wrong question. Wrong question is something that I called as speed breaker. So basically, if we have five smooth questions and then there is suddenly a sixth question which will take you somewhere around 2-3 minutes to solve. So basically, that is the question that you should analyze and that you should avoid. So this is something that we should do in the last 15 days specifically. Baki, talking about revision and everything, I think now it's not a time to study something new. Rather, you should revise whatever you have done so far, and specifically some shortcuts, tricks, tips. These are very useful. I mean, different topics, they do have different strategies. So some shortcuts are there, maybe calculation shortcuts are there, Vedic maths is there, so that speed methods are there. So basically revising that, because at the end you have a lot of weapons in your arsenal. On that D-day, which weapon will you use is very important. So yeah, this is something that I followed. And yeah, that pretty much covers my 15-day strategy, I believe.
So, if you were to give like some of the must-do topics, what would you suggest,
Sure.
Abhishek, that ये तो पढ़ना ही है अगर सीईटी में अच्छे स्कोर लाने हैं?
So, see, so when it comes to cons, I would like to divide this into four parts. I mean, specifically, we have four topics: QA, LRDI, QA, LR, and verbal, and at the same time, your VA, which is verbal, which is your visual reasoning. So, from cons, I would say, see, arithmetic is must do. So, arithmetic, the advantage of arithmetic is that it will act as a double-edged sword. It will be useful for you to solve the singlet questions, the single standalone question, and at the same time, all the DI questions specifically revolved around these four topics: ratios, percentage, averages, and fractions. So these four topics, if you do, you can literally channelize all the five questions from any DI set into these five topics. So these are the must-do topics, followed by topics like, let's say, time and work, time, speed, distance, then simple interest, compound interest, profit and loss. These are the topics, again, from arithmetic only. Even if you do that, I would say out of 50 questions, you will be able to solve at least 40 questions from quants very easily. Then apart from that, now if you have time, then maybe you can sort of touch base on some of the basic concepts of maybe modern math, PNC, some of the topics from geometry, maybe coordinate geometry, basic formulas, mensuration formulas. Because at the end, there are certain questions which will expect you to know some formulas. That's it. In fact, when it comes to questions from modern math, it's all about knowing the basics. So even if you do that, you'll be able to solve the questions. That is not an issue. So arithmetic is must do. And apart from that, I would suggest, now that we have 15 days in our hand, I would say at least touch base on the basic concepts of other topics. Apart from that, when it comes to LR, I would say topics like blood relation, clocks and calendars. In fact, is being observed that from last 3-4 years, that's being very dominated in CET. So clocks and calendars is must do, followed by blood relation, direction sense based questions. Then there are topics like your alphanumeric series, input output. These are some of the important topics. And visual mein to, I mean, it is all about series, and that visual is all about practice. So even if you do some 200-300 questions from now for visual reasoning, that is for your abstract, that is more than enough. Verbal, I think I'm not a right person to talk about verbal, but yeah, more or less, reading is something that helped me a lot, along with your critical reasoning questions and some of the grammars here and there. That's it. But
Okay.
yeah, verbal was not my forte, although I managed to cover it and get into JB.
All right. Last thing I would want to discuss is, Abhishek, we talk about the exam D-day strategy. Like on the day of exam, how do you go about attempting those 200 questions? What was your which section to start with, and how to keep juggling between sections, or how many questions, how much time, so that you can attempt maximum number of questions?
Okay. So, see, it depends. I mean, my strategy was different when it comes to a jumble paper, and my strategy would have been different had it been a normal sectional paper. Now, fortunately, I tried jumble mocks, and that was a jumble section, so I followed my strategy. So, first of all, I cover that, and then I'll talk about the
Yeah.
sectional based strategy. So, the jumble strategy, I mean, if at all the paper is a jumble paper, I would choose a strategy which will cover 40 questions in 30 minutes. So that's a 30 question, 40 mark strategy that I followed. So that strategy goes something like this. So that basically I would have start with questions from 1 to 40. So I would start with that. Once I'm done with 30 minutes, I would simply leave those questions. So for example, if I would able to do 25 questions out of 40, I would simply leave those 15 questions. I would jump to the next set of questions, which is 41 to 60, 41 to 80. And I would take another 30 minutes. The advantage of this method is that you'll be able to cover all the questions from 100 to 200, irrespective of the fact that level of difficulty is easy or difficult. So a lot of times what happen is that, the let's say for that fact, first 120 questions are difficult and last 80 questions are easy. And even if you spend some 120 minutes on first 120 seconds, you barely have 30 minutes to cover 80 questions, which would have fetch you maybe 70-80 marks. So that is the advantage of this strategy, that you'll be able to cover almost everything from start to end. So that's a jumble strategy that I followed on D-Day, because my section was jumbled. Had it been a normal sectional paper, I would have followed a strategy where I would pick with my strong suit, which in case is quants and LRD, quants and logic. So I would start with quants. If at all quants is slightly difficult, I would sort of pick and choose the next section which is according to that. So for example, I used to take around 12 minutes to be precise, to cover all the 25 questions from abstract, because abstract was my strong suit. So if at all quants is difficult, then I would, in order to save the time, will start with abstract, then would go to LRDI, maybe your logical reasoning, and then would go to the verbal, because verbal was not that good for me.
Okay.
And I would take some extra time for true read RCs. So accordingly, here and there some tweaks are there. So basically, in order to basically in nutshell, if I want to summarize this, start with your stronger suit, and then slowly maybe you can end with a section which you're not that comfortable with.
Okay, lovely. That was really nice. I think the last bit of motivation for everybody would be, how has life been for 2 years at JBIMS?
Yeah, so that's the most interesting part. Life here at JBIMS is really something that I was never expecting. Not that this is very, uninterested. It is very exciting, very interested, and very interesting. And each and every day you will get to learn, a lot of things. Especially when it comes to JB, it's a B school which is situated in the financial hub of a financial city. So all the major headquarters are there around, and the teachers who are there, basically all the teachers are the top employees of different institutes, and at the same time they are basically the MD and CEO level alums of JBIMS. So there the learning is exceptional, and at the same time the spot itself, South Bombay, is very, I mean, it's the best place to chill out in Bombay. So that's again another thing. Marine Drive is literally 1 kilometer away. So even sometimes we have some classes also on Marine Drive. So that's again yet another, different thing about JBIMS. And obviously, last but not least, placements wise is also, I mean, something. JBIMS is something which you can compare with other top B schools. Especially when it comes to ROI, I think it's the second best B school, I would say. So that point of view, I mean, it is again the best thing that you can have. And definitely, I mean, if at all you are getting into JBIMS, there's nothing like that. And the best 2 years of life it is going to be. So yeah, I wish all the aspirants a best of luck, and I hope every one of them, and whatever the number of participants that we have, every one of them will get into JB this year. So yeah.
Lovely. That's really nice. Thank you so much for all your inputs. I'm sure that's going to be helpful for all the students who are planning to give CET for this year, for their last minute tips and strategies.